Do not get emotionally attached to deals. Ever. If you do, that deal is going to become emotionally, permanently attached to you more often than not, and not in a good way. So let's talk about this. When you look at a real estate deal, what you need to use to make your decisions is one word, just one word: data. What is the data telling you? Okay. It could be specifications, it could be market values, it could be demographics, it could be population, it could be growth percentage of an area, whatever it is, right? Who knows? There's no shortage of data points out there. You want to look at the data to make decisions. Because if you don't, what will happen? And I've seen this happen countless times, and it's happened to me. Like, we're all human. If you're a human being hearing me right now, if you do not let data drive your decisions, what is usually going to happen is emotion is going to sneak right in there. And the problem is emotions are highly, highly untrustable. Okay, because they fluctuate. And we know that. You're a human being. I'm a human being. We know that emotion can cloud our judgment, and it doesn't take long. We get fired up. We have had this experience, right? You get fired up and you say something you shouldn't have said. Okay, well, now we're not talking about saying something you shouldn't have said. You're making a decision that you shouldn't have made, but it's the same process. So here's the deal. Where do I see this happen the most? I'm going to talk about a few examples. Example number one: new investors. Why? They went to the seminar, they saw the YouTube superhero, the online guru, the seminar down the street. Their friend told them, who they saw made a bunch of money on a flip, whatever it is. And they got excited, rightfully so. And there's nothing wrong with being excited. Okay, so we're not saying emotion is bad. What we're saying is you must keep it under control when it's time to make the decision on, are you moving forward with a project, with the purchase of a property that might be worth 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, whatever the case may be, or not? Is that decision being driven by emotion or by data? That's where the issue is. Okay, so you can be excited, but don't be too excited when decision time comes. Step back and look at things for what they are, not what your excitement is telling you you think it is. Because your excitement will tell you things that are not real, and that's a problem. Okay, so a new investor comes along, and maybe they spent money on a course, maybe it's training, maybe they didn't spend any money, who knows? Maybe they got excited through something with AI, and now they got money and they're like, oh, we got to spend money. We got money to spend, right? Or maybe they got a lender, or whatever the case may be. And they're so in a hurry to get a deal. And I see this all the time with new investors. Oh, I've been doing this for 6 months and I still don't have a deal. And a lot of time, there's a number of reasons why that happens, but one of them very much is the emotional, oh, I haven't done it. You start feeling like a failure. You feel bad. I'm not executing, right? And your brain starts going crazy with all these emotional reactions. When in reality, you got to cut all the emotion out. Because what happens? Too many investors buy their first property emotionally and they lose money on it. Okay, I tell people all the time, the most popular investor on the planet is the brand new investor. Because they get in the game, they do a deal, they lose money, they quit, rinse and repeat. The vast majority of the people that quit, it was emotionally driven decision. I've talked to a bunch of these people over the years. That is an incredibly consistent theme. There was emotion behind the decision rather than the proper data analysis to make sure it was a sound decision. Now, and how did they get emotionally charged up? Well, first of all, they could have been excited. They could have been with a realtor who was excited for them or nudged them along or sold them on it. Could have been a wholesaler, could have been a direct seller, could have been whatever it was, okay? But when they talk to people that are selling property, remember this: when people are selling a property, what's their job? To sell it. Their job is to get you emotionally attached. Okay? So I'm not mad at them for it. That's their job. In fact, if a seller, whoever it is, wholesaler, realtor, direct seller, gets you emotionally attached, then they did a good job. Good for them. But that doesn't mean it's good for you. So it's important to understand they're doing a job. You're wanting to buy. You can't let your emotion drive how you buy, what you pay, what it is, where it is, etc., etc. Because here's what the human mind will do. The human mind, and by the way, now I'm going to bridge into experienced investors as well, because this happens to experience, not just new people. The human mind will literally sit there and find ways to convince yourself, yeah, this is going to work out. Yeah, this is going to work. Yep, we can do it. Yeah, oh yeah, we'll make it work. Here's the problem with the phrase make it work. On the surface, it sounds noble. I'm going to make it work. Okay. If you have a desire to do well, you've probably used it. I've used it. Probably everyone I know has done this business has used it as well as any other business. We're going to make it work. The problem is make it work. If it's rooted in emotion, it doesn't mean you can actually make it work. In fact, it may be 100 times harder than you ever thought it was going to be to make it work. Because you thought, again, coming from a place of emotion, or you might even say from a place of, well, it's my integrity. I'm going to do the right thing. And those are good things. You should have integrity. You should do the right thing. The problem is if emotion is driving it in any way, it may not work out. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. I'm just illustrating how powerful emotion is. And when emotion is tied into a decision on spending money to do a deal, it can be extraordinarily costly. And there is a landscape that is littered, and I mean littered with people that have done deals that they should not have done. I've done deals that I shouldn't have done. Any investor that's been in this game for a while probably has more than a few stories of deals they should not have done. In fact, if anyone tells you they have never done a deal they wish they haven't done and they've been at this a while, I'd run the other way. Because in my experience, what I've learned is entrepreneurs, not just real estate, entrepreneurs, no one's batting at or close to 100%. Nobody. Being an entrepreneur is hard. Being a real estate investor is not easy. It's hard. To do it well, it's hard because you're running a business and businesses run off data. They're not driven by emotions. The problem is we let our emotions drive it. We get emotionally attached to a deal and bam, we get hit where it hurts. Oftentimes in multiple places. Okay. So I cannot stress this enough. Don't get caught up in the make it work bug. Really step back and say, can I really make this work? Because it may not be realistic. Okay. I saw a deal on a website recently. I'm going to give you one last example. It said high risk, high reward. There's an emotionally charged phrase. We've all heard it, right? Oh, if you're not, if you're not, if you're going to get big dollars, you got to take big risks. Here's what I will tell you. The best deals I've ever seen that we've done and most people I know have done have been low risk deals. That is what I've seen. I'm not going to tell you a high risk deal can't work. It certainly can't. But for most people, the best deals they do are actually low risk deals. For a number of reasons, for a whole nother video. But this idea of high risk, high reward, by the way, that is sales. A salesperson's job is to sell you by getting you emotionally attached. So when you hear a phrase like high risk, high reward, okay, you got to swing for the fences. Okay, you got to go for it. Okay, there's nothing inherently wrong with these phrases, especially if they're used well by a salesperson. But you've got to make sure that you're not using that as your decision point. It's take it in, step back, take a deep breath, and go, okay, so let's figure out if this is the best decision. Okay, let the emotions dissipate, then you can decide. I have a little countdown I learned from one of my coaches. Best case, worst case, most likely, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, decide. Let that emotion dissipate while you go through that process. Look at the data, let it tell you what the best choice is. Be excited, but keep the logic in it, and you have a much higher chance of success. Remember, never get emotionally attached to a deal. Let the data tell you. Data doesn't lie. Numbers does not have emotions, and they are there to help you. Use them, use them, use them. If you enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you around.